and welcome to Casting Cues. My name is Sarah Levin. I'm here with Tracy Twinkie Byrd from Twink of the Eye Casting. You might know her from such things as Stomp the Yard and Notorious B.I.G. Hi Twinkie, thanks for being with us today.
Hi.
Now, your first gig was scouting dancers for Def Comedy Jam.
Yes.
How did you get that job?
Shout out to Stan Lathan.
All right.
How did I get that job?
Mm-hmm.
I have a big mouth. That's how I got that job. I was working for a publicist at the time named Terry Williams. And she invited me to come with her, and I was moonlighting because I was working at Essence Magazine, and I worked for Terry Williams at night and on the weekends. And she had me come with her and be her intern and, run little errands, do what I needed to do for her. I get there and I'm watching, the show, and I go backstage. I talk to Martin Lawrence, give him a couple of notes about who was in the audience, what have you. And I decide to fall back and stand like in the rafters area. And I'm looking at the dancers that are performing, some of which that I know. And they perform at the end, and I was like, I could get better dancers than this. And I had no idea the producer was standing right there. And they said, really? And I said, yeah. And they was like, great, you got the job.
So, how did you get to your current position in casting?
I was temping in New York after college, and I ended up at an ad agency called Darcy, Macias, Benton, and Bowles, DMB&B. And they ended up putting me, I type really fast, 95 words a minute. So I worked for a lawyer in business affairs, but they put us on the same floor with casting and the account executives and such. So I ended up having like the creative side as well as the business side, and I was around all of it, and I got all excited. And I met this fabulous, fabulous casting director. I'll never forget her, Shirley Sender. And she she was so open and so honest and so sweet. And I had two bosses at the time. One went to lunch from 12 to 1. The other one went to lunch from 1 to 2. So I went to lunch from 12 to 2. It was my 2-hour lunch break. And I decided to start helping and finding out what is this casting thing about, and all these people are in this waiting area, and what's going on behind that door over there, and all of this stuff. So one day this little baby came up to me, and I'm playing with the baby, and I have all these great toys on my desk from all the wonderful commercials we've done, Burger King and what have you. And the baby sits down on my lap, and he's playing, typing on my computer, doing all this stuff. And then they say next, and it's time for this baby with his mother to go in for Pampers. Baby didn't want to get off my lap. And they were like, okay, well, you bring the baby in. I was like, great. I bring the baby in, and they're like, excuse me, are you the baby wrangler? And I said, how much do they get paid? And then they told me, I said, yes, I'll be the baby wrangler today. So that's how I found out what was going on in the room. And from then on, Shirley Sender, she would, during my lunch 2 hours and after work, she would show me the ropes of, commercial casting. And from then on, I started interning with Sarah Hyde Hamlet, Winsome Sinclair. Actually, I went in with Julie Hughes, who did The Cosby Show, because I saw her name on the Chiron rolling up, and I just kept bugging her and bugging her and bugging her. She was like, all right, you get 5 minutes. So I finally got into her office, and she said, okay, rip with the questions, everything you want to know. And my last question was, who empties the garbage and gets your coffee? And she said, no one. And I said, I want the job. So I would do that whenever I had time to intern and be around it so I can find out more about it. So those were my true humble beginnings. And then I started in music videos and worked my way up from music video. And I ended up, a friend of mine, Tracy Moore, another casting director, I ended up, she passed on a gig. She was like, oh, there's this production company called Good Machine, and this director named Ang Lee that wants somebody to do extras casting for him, and I'm busy, would you take it? And I was like, okay, sure. I had no idea. So I did extras casting for The Wedding Banquet. That was my first film gig. Yeah, wow. I had no idea.
So what key things are you looking for in an actor?
I'm looking for them to be punctual. Punctual's good. I'm looking for them to not oversell their abilities. That's good too. I'm looking for them to stop emailing me, begging me for a shot, and then when they get their shot, they freeze up. I'm looking forward to that day when they stop doing that. I look for the it in their spirit, because there's something about confidence that you just, when you walk into the room and you realize that I have done all the preparation that I can, I'm ready for this moment, I'm going to be, stand in my greatness and not rush my moment, because it is your moment. Don't rush it, and be grounded in the space. That is great. Like, I'm rooting for you. So do your thing, but prepare yourself. Don't rush. So many people rush because they hear all of these great stories on the red carpet about so-and-so that met blah, blah, blah in the elevator, and then they got their shot, and he ended up in a movie, and next thing you know, they're on the red carpet at the Oscars. And then 10 years later, nobody knows their name because they didn't do the work. So that one shot was their shot, and that's it. Like, you have to think about those stories. Like, think about those things, the whole story, not just the part that you're interested in. Think about the whole story. So being prepared is important. Having some knowledge of theater, huge. Please. That's all. Please. Because that's important. And most people discount theater, and all these young people do now is, I want to be in films. I just want to be in films. I just want to be in film. And that's the big, huge deal. So that's an issue with me. But now with the shows and things like Glee and such, that showing the importance of being in drama club and Glee club, expanding your horizons. And so that's important. You get to hear people like Jennifer Garner tell her story about being in the school band, and then she took ballet, and all of those things help her, A, be a more well-rounded person, but B, she lends those same talents to this job, to this career. So you love hearing those stories. You love knowing that people are living their life and bring something to the table. If you don't live your life, then how are you going to breathe life into anything? I don't understand that. So you've been living to be an actress all your life. So you haven't done anything else. You've never walked a dog. But we have a scene now where you need to walk a dog. What the heck are you going to do?
Thanks again for joining us for Casting Cues with Twinkie Byrd. I'm Sarah Levin.